Hey everyone, and welcome to this episode of Underground Video Network's Behind the Counter. I am Mike Laura. If you're wondering, yes, I am at a mall. Yes, it's not been taken over by Spirit Halloween yet. It's Ohio. It's coming. We're here at Piqua, Ohio, at the Piqua Mall for the Piqua Comic Con. One of the things I've mentioned before I love about doing this show is over the years getting to meet people and then meeting people through those people and knowing people that do fantastic things. Earlier when we first got here, walked by this table, was like, oh, that's rad. Then right next to him is my really good friend Adam, who's been on the show. He has the podcast, Fandemonious. Love Adam. A few minutes later, Adam's like, Mike, come here. You've got to talk to this guy. I'm like, shit, yes, I got to talk to this guy. I'm here with Deryk Wehrley. Holy balls, man. I am an avid horror movie fan. From early on, I mean the original, Night of the Living Dead, Dawn of the Dead, even the stuff, know. Yeah. So when I walk by and I see this, I'm like, oh, this is awesome. And tell me a little bit about yourself, because I mean, I'm assuming that you're not here to promote Amway, or
I'm not really the biggest horror fan ever. I love horror movies. I've been a horror fan for quite some time, ever since very young age.
Mm-hmm.
And God's Honest Truth, it all starts with like Scooby-Doo and stuff like that.
Yep.
That's where the interest kind of begins, and moving on to things like Courage the Cowardly Dog and stuff. And it's just like those are the shows that kind of got me to start. But then I started watching like stuff on the Sci-Fi Channel, and it just kind of snowballed. AMC with their Horror Fest and stuff.
Yep.
Just taking anything I could get, and growing up, I wanted to be a rock star. I was like dead set, like I'm gonna be a heavy metal musician. I'm gonna, sell out arenas. It's gonna be rad. Yep, like an Iron Maiden or something. But not musically inclined, unfortunately. So the one key component there,
that whole lack of rhythm.
Yeah. It's just a mess. So. As I got more into horror, I just kind of started, like, as I would get DVDs and stuff, I'd watch, like, behind-the-scenes footage.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes.
Like, we've all done that. Like, how did they do that,
And a lot of people that, when I tell them about that, they're like, well, doesn't that ruin it for you? I'm like, no, it enhances it for me.
Absolutely.
Because I know what goes into it. It's like, yes, guess what? That wasn't a real head that got blown apart.
Yeah.
No spoiler alert. Knowing how they did it makes it even better for me.
I totally agree. And, as I see, like, the guys in K&B wearing heavy metal shirts, long hair and stuff, I'm like, oh, they're just like me, And it's like, naturally, having an artistic, look at things and just, drawing and stuff, I was like, I kind of want to try to make some of this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So, going to Halloween stores and, trying to make fake blood and, doing goofy stuff with my friends and little short movies and stuff. And it just, like, it really started to, like, build up, and I kind of started to learn how to do certain things. And it just, like I said, the rest is history,
Because I think it reminds me, one of the things that we used to do when we were younger was, and this is like pre-internet.
Sure.
You guys don't understand how hard the struggle was for us older guys. We had to BS our way through. But I was just like, my group of friends, we did the Ziploc baggie with the corn syrup and the food coloring, and it was just like we'd have it taped just right. So it was like, your friend fires guns, like, oh!
Yeah.
That's what we had in food.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my God. You going to any kind of buffet, if you were a horror movie fan, you're like, could use that for guts.
Absolutely.
Brains, eyeball. Yeah.
And as I was saying earlier when we were talking, like, the amount of food that I still use for certain things. I mean, there's even a picture here in my portfolio. The brains from that gunshot wound, that's banana.
Oh. Well done. Oh, my.
Banana.
Yes.
Yep. And that started as a joke, but I decided to, like, no, it kind of looks like brain. So we just rolled along with it, But it's just looking at different foods, looking at different consistencies, and like I didn't have the internet until I was like 18 or 19, so it was like I was just like, all right, well, I'm just gonna wait. So I would pause, frame by frame, rewind, and I would try to figure out how did they do this. because like one of my favorites growing up, Reanimator, love Reanimator.
Yep.
And then Lucio Fulci's Zombie. You know, that throat rip in that, you know, it's just like, this gore in that was so sloppy and gnarly, and I'm like, I want to do this.
The Evil Dead.
Evil Dead, you know?
That was one of the ones when we were doing our playing around, you know, the Evil Dead was like the gold standard, because you could see so roughly. It's like, and this is how old I am. This wasn't even DVD. This was VHS. And when you paused, you had to not only pause it at the right moment, but pause it at the right moment to get that tracking just right.
Yeah.
And you'd watch something.
So you don't get the static.
Yes.
In there.
And you'd be like, okay, still holds up, but it's like, there's the wire.
Yeah.
And you know, like one of the best things that we tried to recreate was from the Evil Dead was the eyeball in the mouth.
Yeah.
And we watch that in slow motion. And it's like, well, how did they? Okay, in this scene, okay, you can obviously see the wire. You know, for what it still holds up.
Oh, yeah.
It's like they went backwards. They went backward. It was, you know, we just rolled from there.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, it amazes me because I've done enough films now where we've tried to do stuff in reverse, and like you gotta really practice that, because it's difficult thinking, all right, this is how you get from point A to point B, and I know the movements I gotta make, so how am I gonna kind of do that backward? And it's like everyone has to be on the right points to do it just right, because we did a movie recently where a girl has a machete in her head and we had to do a pull out to make it look like he was going away, like in the original Dawn of the Dead with the machete into the head, you know? It's just like reverse pull away because I had the moon cut, and so we're just like, you know, we got to do it in reverse, or CGI a blade and just have the handle, but we wanted to keep it as practical as possible,
right?
You know, so it's and I'm not anti-CGI at all, because I personally believe you can mesh CGI with practical and get an amazing effect, you know. So it's just
CGI should enhance
absolutely
a good practical effect.
You know, the makeup artist who really got me my start was Robert Hall, who had done, he had worked on Buffy through the years, he directed Laid to Rest, he had done Quarantine, and just like lots of movies, The Crazies, and just all this stuff. And he's a young guy when we met at a con, and I told him, I was like, you know, you've done a lot of recent stuff that I've really liked, you know, and we kind of became friends, and I worked on my first movie under him, and he always taught me, he's like, listen, CGI is not bad. We just don't like bad CGI. CGI by itself can look cartoony. He's like, but if you take a practical effect and you are able to use the CG to enhance what you're looking at to make it an even more seamless, perfect effect, that's where it's good. And you know, he passed away about a year ago, and he was, like I said, a really good friend of mine for many years. And we kind of lost contact, you know, somewhere along the line. And, but you know, he taught me a lot of really cool stuff about that and all these little tricks, and I'm like, I was just so close to figuring that out, or like, wow, I made that so difficult when it was really this easy all along. It's
literally
crazy.
You were just missing that one puzzle piece.
Yes.
And he came along and went,
oh, this is how you do that. And I'm like, what?
More cornstarch.
Yes.
Oh my god, yeah.
Or oh, you're trying to match the skin tone here, just flick a little bit of that in there, and voila, it's a perfect match. And I'm like, dude, how even, you know? So it's like, it's crazy. And you know, so yeah, I think meshing those together is good, but if you can do it fully practically, obviously, that's the direction we're going to go. You want a total splatterfest of body parts and all kinds of that stuff. And I'm all about the blood. I recently got off a project called Late Checkout, and I said when we were doing the Indiegogo, I was like, listen, if we hit this amount, I was like, my goal is to use 6 gallons of blood in this whole movie. Here's what we ended up happening. I got 10 gallons.
In 15 minutes, we'll be announcing the winner for the 50-50 drawing.
Stay tuned.
So it's we basically I ended up getting 10 gallons, and I used 8. Believe it or not, I was like, man, I want to use every last gallon, but it reached a point where I was finally like, there's almost too much. Like, it was like, this is getting out of control.
Have we finally found the line?
But it is crazy, because you have movies like Hatchet out there, they're using 50 gallons of blood.
Oh, God, yeah.
Every sequel they did after that, they were like tripling the amount, and it worked. But for what we were doing, I was like, man, this is like getting out of hand. Like, it was insane, but it was so much fun, you know, and everyone was having a blast. And one kill specifically, used 2.5 gallons. And I'm not going to say what it is. You're going to have to wait to see it. But it used 2.5 gallons of blood for that one kill, and it was ridiculous. But we were all laughing and having a great time.
Well, before we started recording, I was talking to you earlier.
Yeah.
You worked on some really fantastic projects.
Yeah. No, I've got to work on some really cool stuff. So it's I actually had a several-year break, but my first movie back in when I started doing this more full-time, I worked on Zombieland Double Tap back in early 2019, which was a ton of fun. So much fun. That was great. Since then, I've done, I did Dark Circles, which shot in Connecticut, and that was with Felissa Rose, who was amazing, Terry Kaiser from Weekend at Bernie's, who was so awesome to work with. Talking to him about that in Friday the 13th Part 7, I was like, dude, he was so awesome,
Please tell me you asked if he has it in his will that when he dies, they have to weaken it. No.
I
will not rest unless I know that is in his will. It's just like, all right.
I'm telling you what, he probably been like, oh yeah, totally, because he just goes along with it. He is hilarious. Like there was a day he didn't even need to be on set. He just showed up because he wanted to. He was just like, I'm just having fun. And I'm like, dude,
awesome.
Like it's past your bedtime, And he's just, he had more energy than most of us, and it was so inspiring. He was a great guy. But late checkout on that, we had Felissa Rose, we had LCE Holt from Your Next, we had Shady Morrow from Haunt. I've done 3 movies with Felissa now. I got 3 more coming up with her, and she's just a delight to work with. One of my favorite people. I've worked with Hannah Fairman from VHS on multiple occasions, and she's been on the Creep Show series a couple times. So talking to her about that, and her experiences working with like Ty West, and I'm just like, dude, this is amazing, and she's just so much fun to hang out with. And I feel very fortunate, very thankful that I've had these opportunities to meet these people and to work on such cool projects. And there's a lot of cool ones coming out soon. And I'm very, very excited about them.
Can't wait. Before we get there, I want to ask you something. Because you have done, I've seen some fantastic work.
Thank you.
Whenever we talk to like writers or artists or anything, we want to help inspire the next generation.
Sure.
What advice can you give somebody, especially now with there's so much, like for us, we had to BS our way through,
Totally.
like porn search here. What kind of advice would you give to somebody that is looking to bloody their toe into dip their bloody toe into the world of horror and special effects?
That's a really good question. And the first thing I'm going to say, and I know I'm going to catch some flack from this from some people, don't go to school for it. Don't do that. There are so many opportunities, even in your own community, your own state, city nearby. Get involved with your local film. Because even here in the Dayton area, there are so many resources to get involved with local film. Go work at a local haunted house. Get in contact on a Facebook group with a local filmmakers. Stan Winston Studios has a school that you can take online. It's $350 a year, but they run sales all the time. And it's like master classes that show you step-by-step, in-depth how to do different effects, whether it's, a slit throat effect or building a creature suit or, sculpting with foam, making your own prosthetics. And for the price and how in-depth they go, and you're learning from people who are in the industry, Steve Johnson, Robert Kurtzman, Mike Mikash, I mean, you name it, people were actively working and doing these things that give you the tips and tricks. And for $350, that's worth its weight in gold. And you're getting everything. I won't even lie, I have a subscription to it. Sometimes there's an effect where I'm like, what's going to be the best way to go about this? Or, man, I wonder about this. And I get inspired just listening to these people talk. I hear them talk about, I did this one time. Don't do this. This is how you want to do it. It's like, oh, I didn't think of that,
Always make sure the cooler's plugged in.
Yes. Oh, my gosh. Absolutely, Don't make a mistake at Day of the Dead where you unplug the cooler filled with pig intestines. Yeah. Oh, God, stinky. But yeah, it's like, see what's around you first, because there are so many opportunities that can be hidden that you don't even realize are in your own backyard that could really help you, step your way into it. I got very fortunate having family members who are in the scene to kind of help guide me. If you don't have that, watch YouTube videos, take a master class, do some of your own research, and even, like I said, get on Facebook, talk to artists on Instagram. Instagram's a great resource for meeting other artists and brainstorming with them, asking them questions. You can always hit me up, ask me a question. I'll answer it to the best of my ability.
I would even add, go back through some of the older horror movies.
Absolutely.
greatest example I can give is I mentioned before the Evil Dead.
Yeah.
Because after it was released for like the 7th or 8th time, they have all of them. On DVD, they did a lot of really great behind the scenes stuff. That is where I learned one of my all-time favorite camera tricks was 2 cheap sawhorses, a 2x4, Vaseline. You have a camera. We saw them do that. It was just like, we can do that.
Yeah.
It was like we didn't even have a reason to have that effect, but it was just like we knew how to do it.
It's as simple as putting something on a skateboard and moving it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just like, and that's what I was saying before about like, it's like sometimes you overcomplicate things, but it's like you can see these tricks in some of these independent films. And with a lot of stuff I'm doing, we're starting to film a lot of BTS to show like, we only have $20,000-$30,000 to work with, which is so minuscule. That's nothing, you know. And they talk about indie film right now being movies like Hereditary. And it's like Hereditary still had like a $4 million budget. So it's like that's not true indie. We're doing micro to no budget and making it work. And sometimes the quality looks as good. And it just goes to show you don't need millions of dollars. You just got to really use your head and kind of get as creative as possible and like use food for brains, you know? And it's just like do whatever you can and just get out there and make it. And you know what? Even if you want to make your own content, just do it. Don't let anything stop you with Instagram Reels and TikTok and like all these like short form media outlets. There's so much opportunity to even make little short films. It's like just do it. Just go out there and do it and have fun because you never know who's going to see it and who you could find through that.
That's the great advantage I will say this generation has is like all the little stuff that we did when we were younger and we did the little micro movies. We made them. We loved them. We had no way of getting it out there. You know, we were lucky if we could get the guy that was managing the Edgewood skate rink to let us set up a small projector, you know. But now it's just here.
Yeah.
You know, so there's absolutely nothing to stop anybody.
Your work can be seen by millions of people so easily, you know. It's like it was funny back in 2017. There's a synthwave group called Dance with the Dead, and I was a real big fan of them at the time because they kind of mix like 80s rock with like the horror movie soundtracks. It's super cool stuff. And they saw like a picture that I drew and posted on Instagram. They're like, "Hey man, you want to do a T-shirt for us?" I'm like, "Sure." To this day, they have said it's their top selling T-shirt they've ever made, and I'm like, "That is so cool." And it's like, and then I'm like, "Man, I really should have charged them for that because I did it." Because I was like, "This is so awesome," and it's like, but you know, it's cool that. You know, how social media can help you find your people, how it can help you skyrocket your career and get your stuff seen by like-minded people who want to do the things you want to do, who want to do things with you. Yeah. And it allows you to just do anything. The sky is truly the limit. It's amazing.
This has been absolutely fantastic. I legit, I adore you. I love you.
Thank you. I love you too. You
Oh,
are so
man.
wonderful.
And next time, come on, she's so shy. Every opportunity to. We gave you the cues. Okay. But where can our viewers and our listeners at home see all this fabulous? You gotta get to know this man. This is all.
So the best way you can find me is probably on Facebook or Instagram. You can literally just look me up, add me, follow me. I'll give you guys all that information so you can put it with this. You know, it's yeah, absolutely. On Instagram, it's Icarus FX Studio. At my personal page is Deryk Must Be Destroyed, and then I'm just Deryk Wehrley on Facebook. Feel free to add me, and if this is something you're wanting to get into, you are more than welcome to hit me up with any questions you got. I will help you out the best that I can.
It has legitimately been an absolute joy. Pleasure meeting you.
Pleasure.
What more can I say?